This is the Walmart FLW Tour. 4 long days of intense competition across vastly different bodies of water featuring the best anglers in the country. Their objective is simple: bring back the 5 biggest bass each day and score the highest overall cumulative weight.
New leader, 16 pounds, 13 ounces.
$125,000 in cash is the top prize, and the winner moves one step closer to the ultimate dream: competing in the World Championship of Bass Fishing, the Forest Wood Cup. Who will make the cut? Who will make the crucial decision? Who will set the hook on the winning bite?
There we go, baby. That's the one we needed.
Yes!
I'll take that one.
Get in here!
And when all is said and done, who will hold the trophy high? FLW starts now. A new season of professional bass fishing has begun, and for the 16th time, the Walmart FLW Tour has come to South Florida, and once again, Lake Okeechobee serves as the playing field for the inaugural event of the 2016 season. Anglers make the trip down to Clewiston, Florida with high hopes for the year. Dreams of cashing a check and getting good points sets their bar. But for the veteran anglers who have fished this lake before, they are finding that bar a bit higher than they thought it would be. The reason? This lake is in a sour mood. Cold weather has made the bite almost non-existent, and high water has scattered the bass even further out among the tall reeds and thick vegetation. The top 20 anglers who made it to the weekend cut are not exactly in an optimistic mood. Even the leader, Bradley Hallman, who has had 2 outstanding days on the water, is a bit nervous at how to maintain his lead under these conditions.
I'm probably sitting on the best group of fish, if the weather's allowing. You know, that has a lot to do with watercolor and stuff. We had a really big front yesterday. The wind blew 20 to 25 mile an hour out of the north. I'm on the south end of a 30-mile long lake, and it's hard on these Florida fish to go through that.
I'm doing something that's not normal to Okeechobee. I'm actually flipping trees and bushes. They're really, really thick. I just kind of I'll flip the outsides of them, and then I actually go way over in them. It's really hard on my boat, because all I'm hearing is trees break all day. But it makes it interesting to catch one, because yesterday I caught a 6-pounder and I had to drag him through about 10 trees.
Of course, we're talking about Lake Okeechobee, a fish factory in the southern end of Florida. Fed by the Kissimmee River on the north end, the lake never gets deeper than 15 feet, and the majority of the fishable waters are in the 2 feet to 6 feet range. It's basically just a big, shallow bowl of water covered with tall grass and lily pads that hold some giant bass.
Had a good first 2 days and looking forward to day number 3.
Massive amounts of rain over the last 2 months have brought this lake up to record highs and caused the water to get quite muddy. This has absolutely changed the game for all these anglers. Instead of fanning out across the lake, almost the entire field of 20 pros are staying down in the southern end today, where there's more fishable grass and some better water clarity. Clear water is key to any Okeechobee strategy. As the old saying goes, the bass can't bite your bait if the bass can't see your bait. Looking at the leaderboard at the halfway point of this tournament certainly tells the story of just how tough this lake is fishing this year. Greg Bohannon sits in 10th with less than 30 pounds. 2 years ago, that would have put him 42 places lower. The entire field is hoping that Bradley Hallman stumbles just a bit from his pace over the first 2 days and becomes catchable.
Watercolor looks good this morning. This is a big player. See the watercolor, how clear it is? That's a good deal. We've had that north front that blew in yesterday, and the wind blew out of the 20 mile an hour out of the north, and it just has a huge effect on these fish as far as how they relate to watercolor. With that wind blowing so hard, it's caused the water to rise probably a foot at the south end of the lake, and with that it brings in more stained water from the main lake. Water temperature is drastically cooler. Drastic in Florida. Yesterday it was 67, today 64.5, so 2.5 degrees in most places in the country is nothing. 2.5 degrees in Florida, big deal.
Bradley isn't alone down in South Bay. Shinichi Fukai is fishing very close, and Chris Johnston is working the east side of the bay. We also have Charlie Weir and local ace Brandon McMillan searching the trawl reeds for any signs of bedding fish. Meanwhile, second place Alex Davis is just on the western edge of what is considered South Bay, and the Alabama pro is still trying to figure out what the fish are doing this morning. The colder water is making him slow things down a bit. He's throwing a weightless worm on 80-pound braid, which is the Okeechobee version of finesse fishing.
It's just a giant lily pad and that hay that they call in Okeechobee hay. Just a big hay field and lily pads. The fish are all spawning out here. This whole area from back there where we was to here is like the cleanest water that I know about. In practice, I could get a bunch of bites out here. I couldn't get the size. I come in here and catch 10 or 15, usually fairly quickly. So I just come in here, try to scrounge out a limit real quick. I think personally we're in between like a wave of fish that came and a wave that's coming. So it's kind of, you're just fishing for fish that's there, but they're not really wanting to spawn because all these fronts that keep coming through. It's making it, for me, it's kind of tough because it's either a big one or lots of small ones. There's a bite. He hit it 3 times before I actually got the jerk on him, but I don't think he's gonna measure. He might be. Oh yeah, number 1. It ain't much, but it's a start.
So the cold water has definitely put a damper on them, I can just tell you, or we would have had a bite. I'm gonna do a little deal I call squatting. Amazing sometimes how it can work, but you have to be patient. It's hard doing a tournament. Just throw it in there and just let it sit. Don't do anything to it. She may be sitting down there looking at it, and that's just what I try to imagine. She's looking at it, and it's not moving. It's hollow underneath, and that's what creates that void in that vegetation. Especially if you have something that's been sitting there a while, and you have all this vegetation growing on the bottom, and it doesn't get sunlight in this one spot, it creates a hole. And it's just a cave for the bass, and they just sit in it. So when you punch through there with that heavy weight and it goes down, they're sitting there and something comes down real quick, and it's a reaction bite. It's early in the morning, it's right at 9 o'clock. I've done a lot of flipping for an hour. That's only the second bite I've had. Sure thankful for that one. That's a great old big one right there. That's the biggest fish I've caught all week. Might be my week, buddy. Might just be.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends, one at a time. Costa Del Mar, see what's out there. Minn Kota, anywhere, anytime. You can get more from your oil with Quaker State. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. And by General Tire, anywhere is possible.
That's a great old big one right there. That's the biggest fish I've caught all week. I gotta just chill for a minute. Oh my gosh, what a fish. Biggest fish of the week. And I've been catching big ones, so he's pretty darn big. Might be my week, buddy. Might just be.
A bite like that when you're in the lead makes you have to get your nerves settled down a bit before picking that rod back up. And Bradley Hallman is doing what so many anglers dream of. He's dominating on one of the most legendary bodies of water in bass fishing, the Big O. His lead is now a whopping 16 pounds, and he doesn't even have his limit yet. But if there's one thing his monster 8-pounder proves, is that you can make up ground in a hurry on this lake.
I haven't fished back here in 3 years. I do really well on the West Coast. At practice was incredible. Seeing all these big fish on ruby beds. One of my big fish yesterday, I missed him twice, then finally hooked her on the third try, and she swam off, and I lost her, and then finally got her. I couldn't believe it. It's like caught an 8 and a 7 and a 6. It was amazing yesterday. So I'm going to fish to win every tournament, every one.
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Charlie Weir proving that years of experience fishing the California Delta translates well down here in South Florida. Now, up near the mouth of the Kissimmee River, Michael Neal has been adjusting to the wind by throwing a half-ounce black and blue swim jig out over submerged vegetation. The Tennessee pro has 2 in the box already and likes his decision to head north from Clewiston.
I just went north. I started practice on day 1 at north. I think I wound up catching 6 keepers all day long. Went back again on day 2. Went back again on day 3. And I went back the first day of the tournament and caught 1 good one in there. Went back and expanded on the area on day 2 and found where they were really grouped up. The wind was not really a factor where I went, but that place up there is always protected, north, south, east, or west wind. I've never seen it dirty up there. Fish hit it the same way, just come up and mouthed it. I just didn't wait on that one. I just went ahead and set the hook. When in doubt, set the hook. Don't cost you anything most of the time. There's 3. Still not very big. There'll be one somewhere.
20 pounds, 3 ounces, Shin Fukai.
The last time the water was even close to being this high, Shinichi Fukai threw a Cinco to claim the victory. And another Yamamoto bait is once again at the center of his strategy. This time, it's the flapping hog.
I decided to go to South Bay. I decided to flip today. The guy front of me, he got 18 pounds ahead, so I just keep going. Basically, I'm not a power fisherman, but I decided to pick the flipping this time. I was looking for the bedding fish, but the most female is inside the grass. My key for this tournament is powerful. Make us slow down. Then when I look at the grass, then make a look in the hole. I flip every hole. Sometimes two times, 3 times. Then switch the bait, color, switch the color. That's the key for me.
I don't want to get complacent and feel like that I should be in the top 10 just because I live down here. But just making the top 10 isn't exciting anymore. You know what I mean? I want to win down here, and you see all the family and friends and the crowd that all hollers and stuff, and I know they're all happy for me, but I sure like to bring home, a trophy, just, you know what I mean?
Brandon McMillan can claim one of the most memorable victories in FLW history. Back in 2011, under near-perfect conditions, he beat out his good friend Randall Tharp, catching over 106 pounds, and more importantly, sharing the win with his father, Jimmy McMillan, who would lose his life less than a year later during a robbery of the family store. That tragedy has driven Brandon to this day to carry on the McMillan name in bass fishing, and that's why he has such high expectations for himself. As tough as the fishing has been this week, an almost 5-pound bass with little time left in the day is a good reason for Brandon to celebrate. Time is up on the water, and day 3 has proven that this lake is not getting any easier. But even under blustery conditions, these anglers continue to haul in bass. Back at the FLW weigh-in stage in Clewiston, rookie pro Chris Johnson had the biggest stringer of the day to jump in the standings going into the final round.
In his FLW Tour debut, 17 pounds and 15 ounces to close the gap on Bradley Hallman. Shiniki Fukai, former Angler of the Year, 15 pounds and 3 ounces, 12 pounds and 2 ounces. You'll go fishing another day. 12 pounds and 12 ounces. Bradley Hallman for today. 14 pounds and 3 ounces. That's got you at 64 pounds and 10 ounces, which means you've got about a 13-pound lead.
So here's how it shakes out for the top 10 pros who made it to the fourth and final day. Alex Davis holds on to his second place position behind Hallman, who has extended his lead over the rest of the field. Okeechobee is known for catapulting an angler into the spotlight, and Bradley Hallman looks like he is ready for his close-up. Can he close this one out? Stay tuned.
It is not for the weather from what I've seen. Even though it's cold for down here, we can still bear it and do the best we can.
The biggest challenge I've seen out here is the weather. The wind, not necessarily the rain, but the wind plays a huge factor in Lake Okeechobee. If it's blowing from the north, everything in the south gets dirty, and you got to change your pattern and adjust and find that clean water.
I started fishing, it was 2004, it's 11 times fishing this lake. See my waypoint, see all over here, but I'm going south around here.
Just about everyone in this top 10 of the Walmart FLW Tour is headed south again today. It's the fourth and final day of the season opener on Lake Okeechobee, and Bradley Hallman is the man to beat, while Alex Davis sees the positives from just making it to the top 10.
I'm 30 years old. This is the fourth year I've been doing it, so it's not my first year, but anytime you can get a top 10, you just gain confidence because you're fishing against the best anglers in the world. It does a lot of things for you mentally and financially and just gets you started on the right track of the year, so I couldn't be happier with the position I'm in right now.
A lot of people are expecting that this thing's over, and it's not. It's not that big of a lead. It's Florida. A lot can happen. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. 15 pounds probably puts it out of reach. When the clock runs out and it says it's time for me to come in, whatever I have, and I'll leave today on the water.
This is going to be a tough day. This wind is not helping. You can only see about 4 inches right now. These Florida bass are renowned when the water gets cold, they don't want to bite, so I'll be happy to get 5 to start. So we're down about 8 degrees from the first day of the tournament. At my house in Alabama, really don't do nothing to them. 8 degrees here is like 20 at home, which is like a kind of a shock for them.
It's nothing I didn't expect. I mean, I knew that this is going to be tough. I mean, there's a chance that you don't catch a fish, but there's a real likelihood that 5 of the top 10 don't have limits today. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Okeechobee is this big, huge pond, basically, that's 20-something miles either which direction you want to go, at least to the other bank. The problem is most of the time you can't get to the bank here because of the grass and things that grow out, sometimes a couple miles offshore. So there's endless places for these fish to hide, but this time when we're here, I think most of the fish have not even made it to the grass yet. Everybody's up fishing in the grass, but I think most of the fish are out in the middle, roaming around, chasing bait, whatever they do. Something I've been doing kind of different this week is I usually throw a 3/8 when I'm throwing a swim jig, but it seems like this week, for whatever reason, I've been getting a lot more bites on a half. I'm not really fishing it any faster. I think I'm just getting it down in the water column a little bit more. And I really think that's what's caused me to get a few more bites than everybody else throwing one. This jig, I think, is just staying in the strike zone longer than the 3/8 does. I've caught some on the 3/8 as well, but it's when I'm getting up in some real thick stuff or real shallow stuff that I have to throw a 3/8 where a ½ ounce will get hung. Keeper number 1, we got something to go across the stage with. Need to grow up a little bit, but I'll be happy with 5. Got to grow up just to catch Hallman if he zeros, but you got to start somewhere. getting some bites. 9:30, finally starting to get bit. Hopefully it's gonna heat up real good.
This is my plan B. I was using yesterday, but early morning. I was prep, but I only catch 4 fish yesterday, so I decided to catch limit here, then go back to the spot, then catch 5-pounder yesterday. So, but I don't get any bite when I flip in this morning, so I want to make a catch 5, make me comfortable. So maybe the biggest fish here, 2.5, 3 pounds. But 3 pounds is good for me, so yep, I got bite. Ooh. Oh. Little bitty bitty.
Today you had to be very specific the way you approach the reed heads. You had to be going with the wind. You can't cast to the side because your line would blow so far. You couldn't make a good cast or feel a bite. So you had to nose into the reed and then just kind of dissect it, making short pitches. And that way you could feel the bite and make sure you hit all the holes and all the right spots. What they're doing is they're spawning on these flats, and then there's these little clumps, and when they're pre-spawn, they'll kind of stage up in these before they go out to spawn, or after they're done spawning, they'll come out and sit in these clumps for a couple days before they head back out to the main lake. So if they're gonna move anywhere with this cold weather, they should move into these little clumps. This is my first year fishing the tour. It's my first event, and I made a top 10, so I'm happy. That was not pretty, but we'll take them. Number 2.
Johnston loses his reel on that hook set, but keeps tension on the line, allowing him to drag that keeper in by hand. Certainly a great reaction on the part of the Canadian pro.
Not coming off now.
At the other side of South Bay, Bradley Hallman is being meticulous, picking his way through the grass. He only boated 4 keepers yesterday and has yet to catch a fish today, so he's going to adjust by downsizing his tackle and slowing his presentation.
Panicking and fishing faster and just trying to cover more water is not going to fix the problem, because I've got everything that I need right here in front of me. Something's not right with what I'm trying to present to them, and they obviously don't like it. So I tried originally just a smaller bait. That didn't work. Now I'm downsizing in weights. Fall rates a lot of it a lot of times. You know, a lot of people worry about color, and the color's not going to fix this no bite issue. You know, it doesn't matter if I flip a purple or a pink cricket or beaver or whatever. And this may not work either, but this is better than, you know, flipping out and going crazy, and before you know it, your trolling motor on high and all you're doing is this the rest of the day, and just settle down and try to figure out a way to get a bite.
Again, not a giant, but we'll take him. I don't think he's gonna measure.
He's so little. Number 2.
Final day action on the Walmart FLW Tour on Lake Okeechobee, and the day so far has been a cold one, featuring small fish. It's uncharacteristic for this body of water. Also out of character is Bradley Hallman blanking so far.
This is what it's all about right here. It's cold front, Florida, and it's tough.
20 pounds and 12 ounces, 21 pounds even today, 25 pounds even, tournament leader.
It was a different story the first 2 days of this event. When the warmer weather had the big fish biting, Bradley captured 25 pounds a day to rocket into the top 10. In professional bass fishing, making the cut is what makes your career, and often the first tour event can set the tone for the rest of the season.
This is the first event here in Florida. Happy to come in the top 10. Anytime I even get a check, I'm happy. But the important thing is I get the ball rolling in the right direction with the momentum. Looking forward to Pickwick, Kentucky, some of these other places I've done really well at. I'm really looking forward to that offshore stuff.
My first tournament as a rookie, getting a top 10, I'm stoked. Hartwell, Kentucky Lake, Chickamauga, Champlain, all those lakes are setting up to be pretty fun tournaments with a spinning rod in your hand.
I really like starting strong like it did this week so far. It takes so much stress off for many reasons. I mean, the financial part of it, because we have deposits up front, and then we have an entry fee up front. So just to get that and kind of make it good, and then not to mention the points for the cup, because I mean, every person wants to go to the cup. You're not in a rush. It kind of just settles you down for the whole year.
I'd love to win this tournament. I mean, it means a lot to me in my career. It's something I've been chasing for a while, and to have a tour level win would be pretty special.
To get a tour level win, Bradley Hallman needs to close the door on the rest of the field. His 13-pound lead is sizable, but could vanish in 2 bites here at the Big O. Hallman has been patient thus far as he's yet to catch a fish, but he's getting nervous.
See, come loose. Put on your life jacket. You realize there's a fish on there, right? And I don't mean a little one either. I put my life jacket on because once I had her pinned, I was like, I'm just gonna start the big motor and we're just going in after. I've got a big lead and I'm not comfortable at all. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. I have no idea. I know that it's possible for them to catch it. I mean, I've only got a 13-pound lead on second place. That's nothing here. Golly! I thought I was gonna have to take the big motor and go in there after. We got her out. I told my wife, I told my friends before I left, I said, man, I hope it's a slugfest, because if I'm gonna get in a truck and drive that far to Florida, man, I wanna catch those big giant breathe heavies. I mean, that's what I'm there for. I want it to be worthwhile. It's been a long morning, a lot of pressure, and she's in the very thick of it to where I can't even hardly get to her. But here we are.
So Hallman finally lands one, and it's the kind he was looking for. Meanwhile, Alex Davis is also trying to land his first keeper of the day. He's getting plenty of bites, but is unable to convert any into a catch so far.
Oh, good God. What a bite. The last hour I've had probably 7 bites and just lost a 2-pounder and had another real good bite that actually shook the whole bush when he got it. So the good thing about this place is all it takes is like 3 bites and we can go from 0 to hero real quick. Like, if it was my rookie year, I would have spun out at 10 o'clock. I'd have ran and done totally new stuff. I would have spun out completely. With it being my 4th year, I've seen things over the last few years happen. The more you do this, the more confidence you get in yourself. That don't panic, just stick to a plan, do what you have confidence in, and just go to work. Get in the bottom of the boat. That's a keeper. I only had to jerk him all the way out of there. Maybe it's starting to happen. Yes!
Anytime a cold front comes in, it pretty much just shell shocks our fish and they retreat and just pretty much shuts them down. With the high water, I mean, this is the highest I've seen it in 15 years, which that's a killer. When these fronts started rolling in, it left a lot of small buck bass, you know, on the beds, and that's pretty much what we were able to catch the last 2 days. There was no new big females coming to us. I never found it.
When you get to Okeechobee, it's overwhelming coming here for the first time. And you just gotta put your head down and fish. But the thing is, if you get one big one, there's usually a reason that fish is there, and you fish that area, you usually end up getting more. So you just gotta make sure you hit a waypoint on that reed head and just keep coming back to it, because fish, for whatever reason, there'll be no other fish around, but they just keep coming to that one spot. That's a good one. We'll take them. They're getting bigger.
Chris Johnson is having a good day and his fish are getting bigger. But so is Bradley Hallman's lead as he nears the 70-pound mark. The wind is howling on the lake and these anglers are going to have to tough it out to the very end. Stay tuned for more action from the Walmart FLW Tour.
It might be a keeper.
All these guys are stacked, whether you're first new here to get here or if you've been here for 20 years.
Nowhere to go but up now. We may not be able to get 5 to buy it, but we don't need 5 to buy it if we like that. And they're still big fish, even though we've gone down in size.
Even under the toughest conditions, the pros on the Walmart FLW Tour find a way to catch bass. Bradley Hallman caught his 5-pounder by switching to a little BB cricket on a 3/4 ounce weight.
The hook set with these big weights is just different in this hook. You just kind of reel into them instead of, like at home we flipping a bush. We throw slack in the line and we really smack them. We don't even have a trolling motor because I'm being forced to fish in this thick cover, and it's caused my cable to break because I don't have any steering. So my options are basically go back to Clewiston, go back through the check-in procedure, change boats. I have decided we're gonna fish with that Mercury 250. We'll just fire it up and idle and flip for a while, and then we'll go somewhere else and idle up and flip for a while. But it's gonna take some regrouping here for a second.
Hallman decides not to spend his tournament time on a relatively easy fix to replace his trolling motor cable, sensing that he can close this one out. Chris Johnson is also sensing a good finish as he has a limit of fish and is starting to look for upgrades.
One big one, we'd have a decent bag for today.
I'll take 12, 13 pounds.
When I got the 5th fish, it relaxed me a little bit. The pressure's off. At least I'm going in across the stage with 5 fish. So I was happy with that point, but then all of a sudden starts going through your mind is I need a big one. I want to move up in the standings. I just need one big bite. I want to help.
That thing was sitting in there for a while before he decided to eat it. This is only my 2nd time on Lake Okeechobee. I was here about 3 weeks ago, and if you had told me then that I'd be fishing in the top 10 coming to the FLW Tour here, I would have taken 10th place gladly, but once you get here, you always want to do better.
Meanwhile, over on the northwest side of the lake, Clark Green was confident that he was fishing a pattern that no one else had found. And due to the high water, he was able to get back into a canal discharge and find fish feeding in the current.
Most of the people come down here and they're looking for spawning fish this time of year. Either bedding fish, pre-spawn fish, post-spawn. Well, most of the time, fish, all they want to do is eat. All they want to do is spawn 1 month out of the year, and the rest of the time they just want to eat. So I focus on trying to find places where you can go catch fish that are trying to feed, so the weather doesn't, affect those fish in any way. And anytime you get moving current, it's a prime place to catch a lot of fish. I found this discharge using satellite imagery. I probably caught 120 keepers in the past couple days. You don't have to get up in the thick stuff to catch them at Okeechobee, but you're not going to win unless you catch a big one.
This spot had a lot of bait, but I never seen the female during a practice, but I saw the lot of male on the bait, so I'm trying to catch it up. It's little, but when I catch 5, I'm so comfortable, so. He barely made it, but it's not 1 pound, it's 14 ounces.
Shin fills out his limit, but the curse of the small fish continues to keep anyone from threatening Bradley Hallman, who has only 1 fish in his live well. There's still time, though, for some Okeechobee magic as the Walmart FLW Tour nears its conclusion.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Walmart. Save money, live better. Mercury Marine, #1 on the water. BRP Evinrude. Learn more at evinrude.com. Find, navigate, dominate with Lowrance HDS and Structure Scan 3D. Motor Guide. Trolling motors engineered for top anglers. And by GoPro. This is your life. Be a hero.
Yeah.
Money.
I think this one's bigger. This is a game of ounce. I just want to catch one big bite here. One big bite.
Broken my cable. So we will continue to fish today. I believe I've decided to just do it with the Mercury 250. I need to move, I'll just fire up the big motor and just keep the wind at our back and try to finish the day.
Bradley Hallman is getting close to a victory at the season opener of the Walmart FLW Tour presented by Ranger Boats. And that might explain why he opted to stay out on the water versus spending the 45 minutes it would take to fix his trolling motor cable. But that doesn't mean he's not second-guessing himself.
The wind's blowing 80 miles an hour. I have no control of the boat. We got a lot of clothes on because it's cold. I can't throw over here and a 10-pounder be 20 feet away and come eat it. Anytime you make real long pitches in this stuff, it's a bad deal. It doesn't go well. You need to be up close. And I can't do that because I'm not moving. So I'm just putting my boat in here and I'm flipping everything I can flip, move on, and then I'm trying not to get too far away, but maybe we'll get lucky and catch one more and get it in the boat before it's time to go in. There she is. Stay hooked up. Good giant. She got off. See how big that one was? 8 or 9 pounder. Great big one. I probably forced it a little bit much, but you know, I don't have a trolling motor to go in after it. The boat's sideways, so to put the boat in there, I'd have to back up and go out here in reverse and then come back in. So yeah, I just went ahead and towed on her a little bit and it didn't work. She didn't tow too well. All day I've been waiting on that bite right there and I got it and it's gone.
Can't believe I haven't got a fish out of this little area. I caught 3 or 4 out of here yesterday. Only one big one, but still. When I got the 5th fish, it relaxed me a little bit. The pressure's off. At least I'm going in across the stage with 5 fish. So I was happy with that point, but then all of a sudden starts going through your mind is I need a big one. I want to move up in the standings and where can I go, and I just need one big bite. Oh, big one. He's not that big. Help. Got hung up in the reeds. The fat one just needs to be about 4 more pounds.
When I pull up, I just drop my power poles down and I pick every like 6 inches apart. Flip, 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 and just try to get everyone that's in there out of there because I don't have a whole lot of water, so I'm having to kind of make everything count in that one little area. Maybe it's a keeper. Number 5. That took all day long. Whew, 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 whew.
I've got to stay up here where I'm at just because I know the wind's blowing out of the north. That south end's going to be dirty. I've never really been down there for more than 2 hours at a time, so I'll just be going blind. I'm going to stay right here where I'm at and hopefully I get a big one.
That's a better one. I think it's better. It's a little better. That definitely helped. Finally broke a little low. Still got enough time left to rally a come back if the fish will just cooperate for about an hour. Take that for that every day. I had her hooked. Best bite I've had in 2 days. I mean, when it was falling, it was tick. And that was the bite that you want. It's a more aggressive bite than anything else I've had in 2 days. Let's just go to the house right now. Just call it done, call it a day, let's go home.
Bradley might be disappointed in how this day has gone, but the Oklahoma pro still has the numbers in his favor, regardless of how many fish he's caught today. The final weigh-in is up next.
Well, we are done for the day. I've left the door completely wide open for them. So let's go see how many of them can walk through it.
And so ends one of the toughest days on the Big O in FLW tournament history. While many of our top 10 got a 5 bass limit, the strong winds buried the true potential of this magnificent fishery.
For somebody flipping, trying to hit smaller targets or trying to get it through reeds or even through mats, the wind bunches everything else up, much less moving your bait around. So these flippers might have had a real hard time today.
I feel actually pretty good about it. Not that I had a big limit, but 5 fish is 5 fish, especially on a day like today with it being so tough, the conditions the way they was. I'm just proud to have actually caught 5.
You have good days and bad days, and today I had a bad one. We'll just have to go in and see what everybody's got. I honestly have no idea right now. I know that anybody in the top 6 were close enough to me that they could catch me if I didn't do too well.
Clewiston, Florida is a sleepy town of less than 10,000 residents, and it serves as the gateway to Lake Okeechobee for countless numbers of bass fishermen every year, who usually book a trip with one of the guides at Roland and Mary Ann Martin's Marina. The resort is where many of our anglers stay this week, and a warm meal at the Tiki Bar might be the first stop after this final weigh-in.
Josh Weaver, a 5 bass limit, 10 pounds even, moves you up to 3rd place, 50 pounds and 5 ounces of Lake Okeechobee bass.
He is your hometown angler. From Clewiston, Florida, welcome Ranger Pro, Brandon McMillan.
Won this event several years ago, over 100 pounds of Lake Okeechobee bass, comes from a legendary fishing family. He has a 5 bass limit. 7 pounds, 1 ounce does move you to 2nd place. 51 pounds and 4 ounces of Lake Okeechobee bass.
Keeper number 1.
Michael Neal, a 3-time Forest Wood Cup qualifier.
Take that for that every day.
Yesterday, a limit of bass worth 12-12 had him in 5th place. Everybody trying down Oklahoma's Bradley Holman. To take the lead, you need 19 pounds and 9 ounces. Can he dethrone Bradley Holman? 10 pounds and 13 ounces moves you to 2nd place. A 4-day total of 55 pounds and 15 ounces.
From Peterborough, Ontario, welcome Ranger Pro, Chris Johnston.
On day 2, 18 pounds and 5 ounces. And yesterday, he weighed in the heaviest bag of the day, 17 pounds and 15 ounces with 45 pounds and 11 ounces. To take out the leader, you need 19 even. You got a 5 bass limit. Can anyone catch Bradley Holman? 10 pounds, 8 ounces moves you to 2nd place. So you take over 2nd place. Chris Johnston.
Welcome Alex Davis.
You come into today about 13 pounds, 10 ounces off the lead. In 2nd place, you are the closest thing to Bradley Holman. So come on up, Brad. I haven't seen this happen too many times. He has been the king of the hill the whole way in. That's incredible, man. That's incredible. In 2nd place, Alex Davis of Albertville, Alabama. On day 1, he had 21 pounds even. Day 2, 20 pounds, 15 ounces. Day 3, 9 pounds and 2 ounces. To dethrone Bradley Holman, the Oklahoma Pro, you need 13 pounds and 10 ounces. You have a 5 bass limit. You're sweating. You don't have a limit.
I left the door wide open today.
How many you got?
I only got 2 fish.
You need 13-10, a limit of bass worth 5 pounds and 3 ounces. Wow! Woo! 2 bass worth 6 pounds, 8 ounces gets you to 71 pounds, 2 ounces. Your champion is Bradley Holman.
As the tournament progressed, I realized, kind of honed in on which reed heads really had some really nice females in it and really just focused on those. I came down here from the jump. I knew that this was going to be a flipping derby as far as finishing in the top 10. I didn't know it could be one another way, but guaranteed at Okeechobee, at least 5 of them are going to be flipping.
Bradley Hallman, $100,000 richer, catches over 71 pounds in 4 days on the Big O.
Hallman claims the trophy, undeniable proof of his skills at the sport's highest level. Thanks for watching FLW, and for more in-depth coverage of this event, visit FLWfishing.com.